preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade J.J. Williams, thanking each and every one of you guys for coming back and joining me here once again in the theater. 'Twas the eve of Christmas Eve, and time is running out. Thankfully, there's no shortage of Christmas movies every year, thanks to Netflix and the Lifetime and the Hallmark channels. Now, in the very beginning of this soft reopening, I mentioned that the oldest film I would be reviewing is from 2018. Today is that film, directed by Mike Roll, from a screenplay by Robin Bernheim and Megan Metzer. Today's film stars Vanessa Hudgens, Sam Palladio, and Nick Sagar, and it's a modernized Christmas retelling of the classic Mark Twain story, The Prince and the Pauper. This is the Netflix original film, The Princess Switch. Released on November 16th, 2018 by Netflix, this film is the first installment in what has become the Princess Switch trilogy. It was followed by a sequel, The Princess Switch, Switched Again, and The Princess Switch 3, Romancing the Star, which we'll be discussing over the next couple of days. As our movie opens, it's 1 week before Christmas. Stacy's assistant and best friend, Kevin, played by Nick Sagar, tells her that he has secretly entered her in a prestigious baking competition in the Kingdom of Belgravia. Now, initially reluctant, Stacy, played by Vanessa Hudgens, agrees to go to Belgravia with Kevin and his daughter Olivia, played by Alexa Adosan, after a brief encounter with her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. While at the competition, Stacy runs into her rival, Brianna, who is played by Amy Griffiths, and she ends up staining her apron. While in the dressing room, Stacy runs into Lady Margaret Delacourt, who is also played by Vanessa Hudgens, the Duchess of Montenaro, and the fiancé of Crown Prince Edward of Belgravia, played by Sam Palladio, and they realize that they look exactly like each other. Desperate for time out of the spotlight, and in order to attempt to try an ordinary life, Margaret suggests to Stacy that they switch places for 2 days and then switch back before the competition and her and Edward's wedding. Initially reluctant, Stacy eventually accepts, especially after Lady Margaret agrees to sponsor Olivia as a student in Belgravia's acclaimed summer ballet program. Stacy and Margaret quickly teach each other about their lives and their behavior in order to try and minimize suspicion, and then they part ways. However, Olivia quickly discovers the switch, but she helps keep the secret while bonding with Margaret. Meanwhile, Prince Edward, who was supposed to be away on business for the 2 days of the switch, changes his plans in order to spend some more time with his fiancée. Now, King George, played by Pavel Douglas, senses that something is afoot, and so he tasks his butler Frank, played by Mark Fleischman, to watch Stacy. Stacy adapts to court life and she begins falling in love with Prince Edward, while Margaret ends up falling in love with Kevin, and she realizes that she loves living a normal life. Despite this, they switch back as planned. Meanwhile, Brianna sneaks into the TV station one night and sabotages Stacy's mixer. Frank photographs Margaret and Stacy together and shows that they swapped identities to the Queen, played by Sarah Stewart. The Queen then fakes illness in order to send Edward and Margaret to attend the competition in her place. There, due to Brianna's vandalism, Stacy is forced to mix her ingredients by hand. Despite the setback, Stacy and Kevin win first prize, with medals presented to them by Lady Margaret and Prince Edward, where the switch is discovered. Margaret professes her love for Kevin, while Stacy walks away, feeling out of place in Edward's royal life. Edward stops her and proposes, suggesting a Christmas wedding if in a year they are still in love. We jump ahead 1 year later. Stacy marries Prince Edward and becomes the Princess of Belgravia. Margaret catches the bouquet, and our movie comes to its close. Now, over the last few weeks, I've discussed on multiple occasions how Christmas movies get held to a different standard, why that is, how they're formulaic, even more so than your traditional romantic comedies, and how, for me, personally, Christmas movies come down to one simple thing. Was I entertained? We've discussed ad nauseum how the plots of these films are void of depth because they want you to believe in the impossible, believe in the spirit of Christmas, believe in Christmas miracles, which, if you don't know by now I do, then what are you doing still watching these for real? In the rare cases where a Christmas movie script does possess depth, you've found a true gem. For me, this film is that rare gem. Maybe it's the fact that it's based off of a classic piece of literature in The Prince of the Pauper. Maybe it's the fact that Vanessa Hudgens is charismatic and radiant enough to steal every scene she's in, regardless of which role she's portraying. Perhaps it's the fact that they use my favorite John Lennon quote multiple times within the film. Quote, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." Maybe it's the chemistry that Vanessa Hudgens has with both of her male leads. But whatever it is, I do my damnedest to watch this film every year, and I can't get enough of it. when it comes to my rating for this film, it's the only one this year that gets 5 stars. What do you guys think of The Princess Switch? Have you seen it? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that discourse, those interactions, those engagements that I'm always trying to get out of you, my loyal viewers. And of course, until next time, when we convene once again here in the theater for another brand new episode of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel. I have been your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, thanking each and every one of you for tuning in and joining me. And I will catch you all next time.